ugly duckling. Mother Duck had a handsome nest. She and her husband had spent a long time making it, and now it was home to 5 small eggs. Mother Duck sat on them day and night to make sure they were warm enough. It wouldn't be long until they are hatched now. At last, the first egg started to hatch. One shell cracked open, and then another, then another. The tiny ducklings inside their eggs cried, "Peep, peep," and waddled out into the world. 4 eggs hatched that day, and 4 fluffy ducklings gathered under their mother's wing. But the 5th egg didn't even move. "I wonder why that egg hasn't hatched," said Mother Duck. "I'd better keep it warm and wait a little longer." At last, the 5th egg hatched. The little duckling clambered out of her shell and waddled forwards. She was already bigger than her brothers and sisters, even though she was just 1 day old. She looked nothing like the other ducklings. In fact, she didn't look much like a duckling at all. The other ducklings were very small, with soft yellow feathers and little orange beaks. But the 5th duckling was very big, with grey feathers and a long dark beak. "It must be because she was in the egg for so long," said her mother. "She doesn't look much like the rest of the family, but she's my baby, and I love her." The ducklings got bigger and bigger, but they never caught up with the 5th duckling, who was already very big. She was soon as big as her mother. Soon the ducklings learned to swim. "Quack, quack," said the Mother Duck. "Follow me along the river, and I can introduce you to the other animals." One by one, the little ducklings jumped into the water. They kicked their legs and off they went. Swimming was great fun. The duck family swam along in a long, neat line, with Mother Duck at the front and Father at the back. "Keep up, little ones," he said. "Keep on swimming." They swam past the moorhen family. "Look at that 5th duckling," said the moorhens. "She's so big. What an ugly duckling." They swam past the herons. "Look at that one at the back," they said. "Her neck is far too long. What an ugly duckling." They swam past the coots. "Look at that grey one," they said. "Her feathers are the wrong colour. What an ugly duckling." "Leave her alone," said Mother Duck. "She may not be pretty, but she is clever and kind. She hasn't done anything to hurt you." Life was hard for the ugly duckling, which is what everyone called her now. All the birds on the river were very mean, calling her names and picking on her. Even her brothers and sisters started to tease her. "You can't play with us," they said. "You don't fit in. You look so funny and different. I don't think you even are a real duckling." Mother Duck told them off and tried to stick up for the ugly duckling, but it didn't make much difference. The ugly duckling was very sad. "Nobody loves me," she thought. "They all just tease me. Why do I look so different? I just want to be a good duckling. I swim well, and I'm always nice and friendly. They're only mean to me because of how I look." One night, the ugly duckling packed her bags and ran away. She turned her back on the river and waddled across the fields and marshes until she had no idea where she was. At last, she reached a little lake. Here there were some other ducks and a few birds the ugly duckling didn't recognise. Maybe these animals would be nice to her. She just wanted to have a friend. The ugly duckling summoned her courage and swam up to a family of ducks. "Hello," she said. "Will you be my friends?" "Us?" they said. "Friends with you? But you look nothing like us." And they swam away from the ugly duckling. She tried another family, and the same thing happened. None of the ducks on the lake would be friends with the duckling. She was very lonely. She watched sadly as a flock of big white birds flew overhead. She had never seen this sort of bird before. They were so beautiful and elegant. "I wish I could look that pretty," the ugly duckling thought. "Maybe then I would have some friends. But those birds are flying far away, and I can't even fly yet." In winter, the lake froze over. The ugly duckling was very cold and lonely. All of the other ducks had families to snuggle up with, but the ugly duckling had to make do with a little hay nest and no company. When spring came, the lake thawed and the big white birds came back. They landed on the lake with a splash and started swimming towards the ugly duckling. They had long curving necks and bright white feathers. They were very beautiful. "Why are they coming over here?" thought the ugly duckling. "I hope they're not going to be mean to me." "Hello," said one of the birds. "What's a swan like you doing all on your own?" "Me?" said the ugly duckling. "A swan? I'm not a swan, I'm a duckling. Everyone round here calls me the ugly duckling. What is a swan?" The birds laughed out loud. "You're not a duckling," they said, "and you're certainly not ugly. You're a swan. You're one of us." The duckling couldn't believe it, but she looked at her reflection in the lake, and what did she see? A beautiful white bird looking right back at her. She wasn't an ugly duckling anymore. She was an elegant swan with a long curving neck, dark gleaming eyes, and a long orange beak. She had a family now and friends to play with. But she would always remember what it felt like to be left out. She knew the important thing was to be good and kind and friendly to everyone, no matter what they looked like. The end.